Hey everybody, it's Chad from One Acre Farm. It's time to lift a giant pumpkin. I am all by myself, so today I'm going to teach you how to lift a giant pumpkin all by yourself with the help of a tripod, no tractors. Stick around. So in case you didn't see the video, I think that video is probably a few years old if I made one. Getting kind of old, I have a hard time remembering. The tripod is basically just 16 foot 4x, or actually, are they 16? Yeah, these are 16 foot 4x4s that at the top, I think you can probably see, I cut the side legs at a 45-degree angle. And when I say me, actually my father-in-law did this. So this is all him. I do not work well in wood, but I am getting better since I made that. You can see it over there, that greenhouse. I'm basically a professional carpenter, so this should have been no problem this year. But, this one my father-in-law made. So once they're together, I just took a big drill bit and I drilled a hole. And then I have a steel dowel that I put in between them. So that's the first part, is getting all three legs connected. And just trying to get that angle right, because these legs are big, and you know, depending upon where the end of the leg is, that angle has to line up correctly. So I have to go down there and adjust the end of that leg. This is always easier with two people, by the way. So the dowel is in right now, and then I just want to scoot them together so that everything's as close together as possible. And I want to make sure that the opening of these legs I'll be able to back my truck into. So I can see I have a good opening. Now would be the time, if I needed to rotate the whole apparatus which way or the other, to back in my truck. So now we're going to start to lift it up. All right, so lifting it up requires just the hammer, some muscle, and a few pieces of rebar. I do it one leg at a time, starting with the back leg. So I'm just going to walk it up. I'll start with the back leg. And if this is the tripod laying down, I'll kind of walk it forward and then put a piece of rebar here at the back of it to keep it in place. And then I'll go up to the front two legs and I'll walk those ones up, so then eventually it starts to go up like so. And yeah, I'll see if I can get this so it makes sense. Starting with the back leg back here. Put those two pieces of rebar kind of where they need to go. They should have gloves, but whatever. So let's scoot the camera a little bit this way. Oops. So you can see I'm getting a phone call. I'll ignore it. So you can see, you know, I kind of lift the middle first to get it going. Nope, not gonna work. Usually this is in the pumpkin patch where the soil is really squishy, so it doesn't have a problem, you know, kind of staying where I want it to a little bit. So actually what I'll probably have to do is put rebar in the front two legs and then walk the back one up. So we'll be right back. All right, so the front two legs are staked. Let's see if I can walk it up a little bit now. And nobody ever said this was going to be easy, by the way. Because the leg is so long, I don't think I'll be able to get a grip on it down there. I'm going to try and move it from here and then try and wiggle the leg to where the rebar is, where I just pounded it in. So let's try that. There we go. Now we're headed in the right direction. So what I think I'm gonna have to do is get some more pieces of rebar and basically do that again, is put another piece of rebar in the ground and kind of walk it up from the middle and do it that way. So let me go get some more rebar. So I just hammered in a second piece of rebar right there. So I'm going to go right here towards the center and try and wiggle that up a little bit. There we go. Now I think I have a system. So let's move you around so you can see. And there we go. So the tripod is starting to ascend. So you can see though that the middle of the tripod is not where the pumpkin should be. The middle of the tripod, you go down and you pan to your left, and there's the pumpkin. So I need to adjust the front feet now to get the middle of the tripod basically underneath the pumpkin. So let's do that. Now that it's up there, I realize I forgot a step that would have been much easier to do while I was down. Now I gotta go get the ladder. So what did I forget? Great question. I forgot the chain. So I have to put chain up there. From the chain I hang the engine hoist. From the engine hoist I hang the lifting ring. So real bonehead move on my part. That's much easier to hang those two things while it's still within arm reach. Now that's an 8-foot ladder and I gotta go up there, and don't forget to hang your chain. Chain is done. Now for the engine hoist. Whew. Now that we have the chain hung up there as well as the engine hoist, it's time to put on the lifting ring and lift this pumpkin up. So these do have an opening, but I usually take the rope off because I want to make sure I get a real good cinch, just because I don't want to be the guy who drops his own pumpkin. So rather, I'll adjust all of the straps around it, and if you don't know how this works, you'll see in a second, but these straps go underneath the perimeter of the pumpkin and the rope goes around it, cinching it underneath the outer perimeter. So, you know, when we pull it tight, the bottom is narrower than the wide part, so it's holding itself in place. It's not very complex. So now all I have to do is run the rope through the ends of these lifting straps, and that's about it. So let's get a closer look on how this actually works from the bottom. So you can see I have a loop and I have the end of my rope, and the rope is going underneath the pumpkin, which these straps cradle the pumpkin. The weight of the pumpkin, I'm not going to tie a knot on this, I'm just going to loop it through and then put it through like this strap and that strap over there, so that the weight of the pumpkin is going to put pressure on this rope and it will keep it from kicking out. But that's it. It's not a complex process. So I'm just going to put that through there, cinch it up tight. But I just wanted to show you guys the before. It also should be noted, you know, not a great idea to pick your pumpkin 3 weeks before the weigh off, as I'm sure it's probably been losing weight this entire time, but oh well. So let's cinch up this pumpkin. You know, one thing I do like to do is make sure the straps are evenly spaced. For a pumpkin this small, it's not super important. So you see, I pulled that rope tight, and I'm just laying it between these two straps, because these straps will hold it. You know, it'll have a couple 100 pounds of pumpkin worth of pressure on that rope. Now let's connect our engine hoist and lift away. Double check before we have liftoff. Tagline's nice and tight. And also, before you have liftoff, just be aware, you know, I'm double checking that all of my rebar is pounded in really good, and I'm aware that if this starts to make some weird noises or goes horribly wrong, I'm booking it. It's not worth, you know, saving a pumpkin. Get out of the way in case anything ever goes wrong. Nice. So the pumpkin is off the ground at this point. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to snag my truck, throw a few pallets in it, and then we'll lift it up the rest of the way. Alright, so we're ready to lift the pumpkin. Hopefully you can hear me. It's always important to make sure you don't hit the sides of your truck. So just pay attention as you're backing it up. Usually 2 people are very helpful for this process. So let's do it. I like the stem facing out, it just looks cooler. Also, pro tip, if you want your small pumpkin to look bigger, stack it on 2 pallets. And that is how you do that. So, usually I put a piece of foam down, not necessary for a pumpkin that's not in contention for, like, you know, top tier prize money or anything like that. But looks pretty good. Time to get on out of the road, down the road here. Gotta go pick up the kiddo from daycare. If you like this, make sure you subscribe. Also, again, make sure you hit that bell notification button. I don't always post the videos like Facebook, so make sure you hit that little bell in the bottom right hand corner of the box. I think it's down here. Hit that little bell so you get a notification when I post a video. But as always, everybody, thanks for watching. Questions, comments, queries, or even a concern, go ahead and comment below. Get out there, grow yourself one last giant pumpkin.